In this installment, we're going to be going over Super Wild Card Weekend. This video will be the Sunday slate we got going on for DraftKings. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our Super Wild Card Weekend Sunday slate. But before I deep dive into this very intriguing Sunday slate, we got 3 games here. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about that Patreon. The Patreon we're going to get to very soon. Right now, we're at the homepage of the YouTube, currently at 1.52 thousand subscribers. Continue to drive in that support and love. If you're currently a subscriber, continue to like and comment. That helps the algorithm for YouTube. And guys, if you're not subscribed right now, smash that subscribe button this second and support your boy. All right, now for the Patreon, our last night NBA plays, we only got 3 wrong out of all these picks. Okay, Hawks came through, Nuggets lost, Bulls came through, Pacers came through, Pistons did not. And then for the props, Al Horford covered that, points and rebounds. Jalen Duren covered his points and rebounds. Jalen Johnson covered his points and rebounds. Tobias Harris went well over 20 points. Jamal Murray only had 6 assists instead of 6.5. So we were only 3 wrong out of all these. It was like 10 selections, 11 selections here. Guys, if you want winning plays, sign up for the Patreon right now. That link is provided down below. Now on to the injury report here. We're going to start off with that Buffalo Bills and Pittsburgh Steelers game here. The main key factor for the DNPs has been Gabe Davis. You saw him leave the game in Miami during that outcome. And he has a DNP on Wednesday. You got to wait on news for him on Thursday and Friday. A lot of these key guys, make sure you check back on Friday and Saturday to make sure these guys are okay before you put in your plays. All right, Rasul Douglas, cornerback, he had a DNP with a knee injury. Von Miller got veteran rest. Leonard Floyd got veteran rest. And Taylor Rapp, that's going to be a key factor here. Safety, he has a DNP on Wednesday. Make sure you check back on these key guys, all right? Pittsburgh Steelers, all right, they at least put out their Thursday injury report. So right now, Najee Harris bounced back from Wednesday. That probably was just rest. Isaiah Samalu bounced back. That was probably just rest for his shoulder. TJ Watt, we already know he's going to be out. All right, TJ Watt's going to be out. Patrick Peterson is most likely going to go back to cornerback with Minkah Fitzpatrick getting full practice on Wednesday and Thursday. All right, now for the Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys game, some guys that are going to be out will be, well, guys you got to monitor will be A.J. Dillon, running back. He has a DNP. We're going to wait and see what happens on Thursday and Friday for him. Everyone else looks like a clean bill of health with all their key guys. Jaden Reed looks fine. Christian Watson, he might be ramped back up in the lineup as well. Now, for the Dallas Cowboys, any key guys we're looking at will be Stephon Gilmore. He actually did not practice on Thursday as well. So we're going to have to, that's going to be a huge loss if they lose Stephon Gilmore, their top corner, after losing Diggs earlier in the season. Some guys that got veteran rest was DeMarcus Lawrence and Jordan Lewis. Zach Martin as well, and Tyron Smith. So the key factor for the Cowboys is going to be on the defensive side of the ball with Stephon Gilmore. That could affect Christian Watson with deep routes and Jaden Reed as well. All right, and then last but not least, we have the Detroit Lions. The key factors here. We're going to wait on news with Sam Laporta. He has 2 DNPs, but this is better news than what we originally thought when we saw that knee injury. He's trending closer to playing, so we're going to get final news on Friday. Hopefully he gets in the limited so he can play on Sunday. We have Khalif Raymond. He has 2 DNPs. That's going to be, make sure you watch out on that. He's a 4th string, 5th string wide receiver. Taylor Decker and Graham Glasgow bounced back from a DNP. And that's pretty much for the Lions side. At least Jamison Williams is going to be back in the mix. He has back-to-back full practices. And then on the Los Angeles Rams side, we need to wait on news for Joe Noteboom, Jordan Fuller, Troy Reeder, and Rob Havenstein. So we got 2 offensive linemen. That's going to be key, especially when you're going up against Hutchinson. So definitely pay attention for the Rams on Thursday and Friday. All right, let's get into the positions. We're going to kick things off with that quarterback position. Very, very important we get this right and hit it on the nail, all right? Just looking at the games overall, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Green Bay, Dallas, and the Rams in Detroit, it's looking like a buildup. So we don't expect much out of that Pittsburgh-Buffalo side. Josh Allen can certainly go off. Green Bay and Dallas. Dallas has been on fire at home, and the Green Bay defense has been poor this season. But the best matchup, technically, for the QBs is in that Rams and Detroit Lions game. I'm loving both sides. If you want to take your shot, either Goff or Stafford. Goff has a chip on his shoulder here, and he might be my favorite quarterback play on this slate. All right, just letting you guys know right now. So at the top, Josh Allen is $8,000 in salary. He might be my second to third favorite. All right, QB. I get it. Josh Allen can easily be number 1 because of the upside that he provides rushing that football. But this could be an ugly game, low-scoring type of game environment, and he's having a problem securing that football, either interceptions or fumbles. That has been the issue here for Josh Allen, and all right? And on the board, this is not the best matchup. Looking at fantasy points allowed to opposing quarterbacks, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been 14th overall, 17th in the red zone, giving up 242 yards and 1.7 TDs per game, okay? Just putting those numbers out there. Josh Allen is going to be the highest priced guy. He's going to get most likely all the attention because they have that -10 spread, and we probably expect them to knock out the Steelers very easily, especially without TJ Watt. All right, so if you want to go that route, Josh Allen is an okay play, but you are paying top dollar. Okay, you are paying top dollar. Next guy we're going to be looking at we're going to wear my 2 favorite guys, all right? Number 1, we'll talk about Matthew Stafford going up against his former team here in the Detroit Lions. So look how life has come back to these Rams and Detroit Lions. That trade was crucial for the Rams to get that Super Bowl, and now we revisit it back in this year of 2023/2024, and we get the rematch. Goff with a chip on his shoulder, and Stafford bringing a red-hot Los Angeles Rams team to Detroit. All right, Stafford has been playing pretty solid this season with the Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua as his 1-2 punch, okay? So that's going to be a key factor there. And if we're looking at fantasy points allowed to opposing quarterbacks, the Detroit Lions are 30th overall and 31st in the red zone, giving up around 290 yards passing, 1.7 TDs per game as well. All right, so that's going to bode well for Matt Stafford. He doesn't provide much rushing. It's going to have to be all yards and TDs for him to pop off. So that's why he's going to be behind Josh Allen. Josh Allen can help you with the legs, all right? But so Stafford, probably my second to third favorite guy at $6,500. That's a very nice price in a game environment where we're looking at 50 plus overall points in this matchup between the Rams and the Lions, all right? My true favorite quarterback, like I said, is Jared Goff at $6,200. We move down a little bit and we go to a guy that's going to prove it, all right? I think he's going to be highly motivated in this game at home for Detroit. 4,500 yards passing, 30 TDs. He's been outstanding this season. Jared Goff has a big chip on his shoulder, and he has the best matchup. Like I said, 32nd overall rank against opposing quarterbacks is the Los Angeles Rams, 13th in the red zone. But look at this, 281 yards passing, 2.2 TDs per game. All right, so they're giving a bankable 2 TDs per game to opposing quarterbacks, and that's going to bode well for Jared Goff in this high-powered offense because they got that run game to lean on as well. All right, so love Jared Goff here on the Sunday slate. Definitely going to be lower owned. People are going to go straight to Allen or Dak Prescott. Forget about Jared Goff and he has a very, very prime matchup. All right, next guy we'll talk about will be Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has another good matchup here going up against the Green Bay Packers. Packers have been giving up more yards rushing. That's why I have Allen, Goff, and Stafford above, because the Green Bay Packers have been struggling stopping the run. But obviously, Dak Prescott has been very good this year, having almost an MVP type season, but Lamar has been better. Last past 2 weeks, 26 fantasy points and 24. Throwing to the likes of CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks, who have emerged. And Dak Prescott is setting himself apart. All right, at $7,600 in salary, you can go this route of Dak Prescott. If they get that run game going and then the play action, we can see some TDs here. Hopefully a 3 to 4 type of TD performance. If that run game gets clicking, they can definitely play off that and be very, very creative with Dak Prescott trying to attack this Green Bay defense. All right, so I'm liking Dak Prescott as another option at that QB spot as well. All right. Everyone else, I'll mention the other two guys. You got Jordan Love. If you feel like this is his day, he's 6,300, but hey, this is the Dallas defense at home. That is not going to be a good matchup for him, especially in his first game in the playoffs. It's going to be a big moment for Jordan Love. I'm hoping he shows up and at least makes this competitive. I think he will, but he's a guy that's going to be on my back burner. He's not going to be the top 3 guys that I'm looking at on this slate. And then Mason Rudolph, he's been hot a couple weeks. He's earned his starting spot, but you're not expecting much out of him. I'm not going this route here. I would fully avoid Mason Rudolph. You did not need to go that far. Let's go on to the running backs. On to the running back position, and we're going to start off with the 2 best matchups, and it's in the same game between that Green Bay and Dallas matchup. Aaron Jones has the best matchup on the board. With the injury to A.J. Dillon, he also did not practice on Thursday as well, so if he doesn't practice Friday, then it's all Aaron Jones in this spot here. He's going to be getting the rushing and receiving work, and that's going to be a plus positive there. Going towards him at 6,300. Whenever he gets the opportunity to play, he tends to do well. As you can see, the last past 4 games, all over double-digit fantasy point performances, and 3 out of the 4 over 15 fantasy points in those 3 out of the last 4 games. So that's going to be a positive sign here. If the Green Bay Packers are going to have a chance to compete with the Dallas Cowboys, it's going to have to be establishing that run game. You cannot think that you're going to throw all over the Dallas Cowboys defense with Jordan Love in his first game, okay, in the playoffs. All right, so the next guy we'll be looking at that running back position, 1 second here, we'll throw Goff in as the QB. The second guy will be on the other side with Tony Pollard. He's been up and down this season. For the Dallas Cowboys, we expected a big breakout year for him, but it's been the CeeDee Lamb year and not the Tony Pollard year. So hopefully, if they're going to extend their run in the playoffs, they can get Tony Pollard back up and running. He had a solid matchup against Washington, came through with 16 fantasy points there. And with the matchup, looking at fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs, the Green Bay Packers are 23rd overall and 22nd in the red zone, giving up around 91 yards per game and 4.4 yards per carry. All right, so I like Tony Pollard as a mid-range option at 6,100. All right. Now, going to some other options that are good in for the Sunday slate is going to be James Cook. All right, James Cook has been coming on strong to finish the year. If we're looking at weeks ever since week 15 all the way through 10, he was red hot, okay? Being utilized in the receiving game and rushing game, 39, 25, 16, and 19 in those 4 games. He's still getting a lot of work in the last past 3, just not as effective rushing that football. And we saw a little bit of a downturn in his receiving work. So we want that to come back, hopefully, in this game against Pittsburgh, who does have a solid defense, despite the fact that TJ Watt's going to be out. But James Cook has some upside side here at home in that cold environment. They want to utilize their run game to help out Josh Allen, and James Cook is going to be that guy at 6,600. So I could consider him at that price. All right. Kyron Williams is the most expensive running back on the list, and he's had a breakout year, clear cut. All right. So if the Lions have any chance of winning this game, they're going to need to try to stop this man. He's been a man on a mission. And the good thing about the Lions run D is that they're top 5. All right. So looking at Lions fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs, 2nd overall and 8th in the red zone, only giving up 52 rushing yards per game and 3.2 yards a carry. All right. So just letting you guys know, this is a very hard matchup for him, and he's going to have to get you there with the rushing and receiving work combined. All right. We've seen some games with Kyron Williams where he gets 6, 7 targets, even 10 targets in some games. All right. So he can get you there with just pure volume. So that's what you're going to be banking on if you go with the Kyron Williams route. But this is a very tough matchup for him. All right. And then for the Detroit Lions side of the ball, you got Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Montgomery is your pounding running back. He's going to get all of the goal line situations, and that's why he's just super consistent. All right. He's super consistent, going to get you at least double-digit fantasy points. He has 13 touchdowns this year. And look at that. Do you see a game with him under 10 fantasy points? Only one game all year. Every other game, it's 10, 15, 16, 17. He'll give you a 20. David Montgomery might be the safest play at running back for the Sunday slate. So I love him at 6,200. The guy that's explosive, that's going to bring you upside, will be Jahmyr Gibbs here, the rookie. And he can take any run all the way to the house. You're going to get a little more volatility out of him, but they're going to need to use Jahmyr Gibbs as an X factor here. We see some big games, 26, 32, 27, 21. So you've seen that upside there from Jahmyr Gibbs as of late, finishing the season off strong. And if you want to go with the more explosive back, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a guy, especially in the receiving game as well. So he can be an option at 6,500. And then you got the worst matchup here on the board. The other options between Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, that's their 1-2 punch. If they're going to have a chance to compete with Buffalo, they're going to have to use both of these guys. And that's been the formula as of late with Mason Rudolph as the quarterback. All right. As you can see, back-to-back over 20-point performances from Najee Harris. I don't expect that out of him again. I think he's going to have a tough matchup and a tough day. So if he's struggling, then I think if you want to punt the running back position, Jaylen Warren might be your guy. If things get out of hand and ugly, they're going to be utilizing the speedier back here and the guy that they best use and use his receiving capabilities. As you can see, he's getting consistent targets each and every game, 5, 4, 6, 6, and 5 in the past 5 games. So I'll be leaning on Jaylen Warren as a punt option at that running back position. And then if you want to go with the cheapest guy, a true punt, it would be Leonard Fournette. I can imagine seeing him get in the end zone. Say this game is a blowout. I can see that going towards Leonard Fournette. And maybe in the 3rd or 4th quarter, he gets a cheap touchdown and definitely pays off his salary at $4,400. Let's move on to the wide receivers. Now, for the wide receiver spot here, I think we don't have to get cute. I think you just kind of like lock in CeeDee Lamb. I really want to say that. I wholeheartedly want to say that. As much as I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, we're trying to fit both of those guys in. CeeDee Lamb has just been a definite. It's just, there's no question. Almost 1,800 yards this year, 14 touchdowns. He is getting all the work. Look at the past 2 games. Talking about 30 targets in the past 2 games. He needs to get you in the end zone. He's getting almost 100 yards a game anyway. But CeeDee Lamb is almost a lock in here. I don't see that many scenarios of us fading the spot. We don't need to. You don't need to go cute. Don't get too cute. Don't get too cute. If we're looking at fantasy points allowed to opposing wide receivers, the Green Bay Packers are 28th overall, 19th in the red zone, giving up almost 180 yards to wide receivers and a touchdown per game. And that's going to be purely CeeDee Lamb yet again. At $9,000 in salary, I think it's worth it. If we're going cheaper at quarterback, cheaper at running back, I think we need to pay up at wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb is going to be your guy. Now, before I had to talk about him before we get into more of the stacks. So if we're going after CeeDee Lamb, we're going to talk about stacks. So stacking wide receivers, the first one we'll talk about will be Detroit Lions. Like I said, I like Jared Goff. The options here will be Amon-Ra St. Brown at $8,000 in salary. He's been a pure stud right behind CeeDee Lamb, getting a ton of looks and a ton of targets and been that number one guy. He's been an alpha. Love Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, if we're looking at secondary options, the guy that can separate and be a punt play will be Jameson Williams. He is improving each and every week. As you can see, the uptick in targets from week 15, 16, and 17, getting more options, making more big plays. And that's what we're seeing out of Jameson Williams. I like him as a punt option at $3,500. And then behind him will be Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds has some upside. He tends to go off once there's an injury in the lineup. He'll have a blow-up game like he did earlier in the season. 12 fantasy points against the Chiefs, 23 against Seattle. All right, so Josh Reynolds is that third option in the offense. But if I'm choosing my secondary guy, it's going to be Jameson Williams. All right, now, on the other side will be the Los Angeles Rams. If we're going to stack these guys, obviously you got Cooper Kupp at $7,500. And yet again in another playoff game here. But what's been crazy is just that Puka Nacua is outperforming him. Puka Nacua at $7,200, who's a little bit cheaper. You can go this route if you want to do your game stack. If you go Amon-Ra, bring him back with Puka, you could definitely do that. So definitely my favorite stack, my game stack, will be between his Rams and the Lions game. Let's get all the guys in this type of game environment. And he's just been putting up solid numbers all year long with Cooper Kupp in the lineup, and especially without Cooper Kupp in the lineup. So I'm going to choose Puka Nacua over Cooper Kupp in this type of game. All right. Now, I think someone that's a sleeper pick is Demarcus Robinson. He had a little bit of a stretch run where he was just performing well over his capabilities, and I think he can serve well as a flex play option here. As you can see, look at this stretch run: 14, 20, 14, 13, and 15 against Cleveland in week 13. Demarcus Robinson is someone who's going to be a very sneaky play. He has emerged as the number 3 option in this offense here for the Los Angeles Rams. If they put all their prowess on Cooper Kupp and Nacua, definitely do not forget about Demarcus Robinson. And that's, I think, how far you want to go. Tutu Atwell will have some spots here and there as another fourth wide receiver, but the cheapest I would go will be Demarcus Robinson. He has upside in this slate. All right. Now for Dallas, other than CeeDee Lamb, you have Brandon Cooks at $4,900. He could be your glue guy that's going to definitely get a nice handful amount of targets and receptions. You need him to get in the end zone for him to get around 15 fantasy points. That's what you're looking for with Brandon Cooks, and I definitely think he can do so. If they going to have Jair Alexander on Lamb, maybe some opportunities rise for Brandon Cooks. Okay. Other options on that Cowboys side, you have Michael Gallup and Jalen Tolbert. This is going to choosing one of these two guys is going to be risky, letting you know that right now. All right, so I probably would stick with Brandon Cooks, and if I'm looking for a cheaper wide receiver, I would definitely go in that Rams and Detroit game. All right, going with the next stack we'll talk about will be Buffalo. All right, Diggs is somewhat forgotten about. All right, and I'm hoping that this is the game. He could be super under owned and could be a big X factor because he has done nothing ever since. When was the last time he scored a touchdown? Week 12 was his last time scoring a touchdown. So this could be that game that Stephon Diggs finally reemerges and has no ownership. So this is the sleeper of the whole entire slate with Amon-Ra, with CeeDee Lamb, all those big names, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Diggs becomes a guy you forget about, and I think I'm gonna have a nice sprinkle amount of him. He's the sleeper wide receiver that's over $6,000 in salary. I love Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis, if he is out, he's missed 2 practices so far, Wednesday and Thursday. Wait on news on Friday. But if he is out, then we'll go. We have another punt wide receiver for you guys, Khalil Shakur. All right. He has speed capabilities. He broke out in that Miami game. He's been getting looks each and every week. I like him as an X factor type of wide receiver here. We saw him turn up at the end of last season, and now he's been fully acclimated as that number 3 wide receiver, and he will be a guy that I'm looking towards if we're punting that wide receiver spot. I gave you 4 already. And then the Pittsburgh, you got your 1-2 punch here between Pickens and Deontay Johnson if you want to choose either one. Last game was Deontay. Pickens is usually the deep threat guy. The guy that's going to get the most targets will be Deontay Johnson, but we're not expecting that much out of Mason Rudolph as well. So if you want to go this route, you can. It's between Pickens and Johnson. Do not expect much out of Allen Robinson, Calvin Austin at all. Let's go on to the tight ends. Last but not least, we have the tight end position, and the guy that has the best matchup on the board is the Bills. Tight end. Look at fantasy points allowed to opposing tight ends. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been 32nd overall and 28th in the red zone, giving up around 6 catches and 62 yards per game. And the good thing about this year, we might have a clear-cut one tight end. All right, Dawson Knox did not participate in practice on Thursday. We didn't get him on the injury report for Wednesday, but popping up on Thursday, that's not good news. Him coming up later in the practice week with an injury. So Dawson Knox might miss this game. If he does, then it's going to be all in on Dalton Kincaid. Love him as an option at 4,600 with this matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as you can see, he had 7 receptions, 8 targets, 84 yards in that game, week 18 against Miami. So you're seeing him trending very strongly in this playoff game, and I like his prospects at 4,600 as one of my top plays. If we're going to spin up at wide receiver, we're cutting at running back and QB. We definitely need to cut back at tight end as well to afford everyone we want to, okay? So he's going to be my favorite tight end on the board. Sam Laporta at $6,000 in salary. We need a positive outcome for him on Friday for practice. So definitely check back and see if he's going to play. If he does, then you can go that route at $6,000 for Sam Laporta and the Detroit Lions. So technically, the second best option for tight end is the Dallas Cowboys. The Green Bay Packers are giving up 29th overall and 30th in the red zone to opposing tight ends. So the next guy we'll be talking about will be Jake Ferguson here at 4,700. So that could be the key spot here between these two guys, Ferguson and Kincaid. They're saving salary. They're all both under $5,000 in salary here, and they're going to be put in prime situations. We saw Jake Ferguson, 6 catches, 69 yards against Washington, and he is one of the favorite dump down targets for Dak Prescott. So I like Jake Ferguson at his current price at 4,700. All right. After that, you have Pat Freiermuth. I'm hoping, obviously, Kenny Pickett is the better connection with Pat Freiermuth. Pat Freiermuth has really done nothing with Mason Rudolph, and I don't expect much out of him at this price. That's 3,600. Just letting you guys know. All right. If you want a piece of this very explosive game, then Tyler Higbee could be your guy here at 3,400. A punt option at tight end, and you get access to this game environment between the Rams and Lions. So if you want to go that route, save some salary, I can look at some lineups with Tyler Higbee at that price at 3,400. And now you have Green Bay between Musgrave and Kraft. Musgrave is the starting tight end. Pretty much, maybe things have changed since both of these guys are healthy, and they saw that Tyler Kraft is a very good backup as well while Musgrave was out. As you can see, they're pretty much splitting, a clear split now in snaps. So it's up to you if you want to go that route. I don't think we need to go that route, and you're going to have to choose between one or the other. Since both of these guys are healthy and both of these guys have proven themselves, they're splitting the work now at that tight end position, all right? And if we need to go further than that, if you're really punting tight end, then it could be Dawson Knox if he plays at 2,900. Maybe you get a lucky tight end from Connor Hayward or Darnell Washington, but I don't think you need to go that far. For punting tight end, you're going all the way down to 3,400 with Tyler Higbee, all right? So that's going to be the lineup builds and the guys I like in this slate on Sunday. If you're considering defenses, the defenses I would consider would be either the Bills defense or the Cowboys. I would pay up at defense between 3,600 and 3,500. I do not like the Packers D or the Steelers D. So or even the Rams, because I think that's going to be a high-scoring environment. So I would stick up top for the defenses. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back with another video very soon, all right? Peace out, guys.